What if Order 66 stopped working after Revenge of the Sith? How would that shape things with the clones working for the Empire? And let's get right into it. Our story begins on Kashyyyk as Clone Commander Cody is with his men as they are in the pouring rain, ushering Wookiee after Wookiee aboard shuttles, enslaving them for Imperial projects. Cody has not felt like himself since the Battle of Utapau, since shooting down Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was hard for him to not think of that day, and every day he seemed to regret it more. In a single instant, he went from serving with Kenobi, a true friend, a brother even, to shooting him down in cold blood. Cody didn't know why they did it. He didn't really know why he did anything anymore. He used to actually fight for something, but now he fought for an empire. As more and more sad Wookiees passed by him, Cody felt his heart beating harder and harder, and he quickly ran behind a group of trees, removing his helmet, throwing up and falling down to his knees. Who was he? He thought to himself. What he and every other clone did not know was that the inhibitor chip altered their actions. But after Order 66, the chips got overwhelmed and quickly began to degrade until now the chips were just a useless clump of cells, having little effect on the clones at all. They were back to acting on their free will, but the only problem now was that they all knew only to follow orders. Could they defect against the Empire? Sure, but they weren't even sure that was the right decision. No one was sure of anything. They were all just waiting for one person to make a move, it seemed. Cody would soon return to his mission on Kashyyyk, and many of his men would share his same sentiment. They felt stuck, maybe just needing a push to leave the Empire. But they were bred to follow orders, to follow Palpatine. But was the Republic they were sworn to serve completely gone? Must they be loyal to an empire? These questions were asked by every clone, but none of them defected. Yet. Days later, after Kashyyyk, Cody was specially tasked to a mission by Admiral Yularen. He was to go to Seleucami, take care of a rogue member of the army to ensure Imperial defectors learn that they cannot get out without consequence. Cody didn't want to do this, but again, he told himself he was a clone. He must trust his leaders. So Cody took off for Seleucami. Cody would land alone and remember a battle here. He remembered fighting with Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Rex, the 501st, the 212th. If only he knew then what it would all become. But Cody hid these memories away, following the coordinates to a small field, and a small home, where a couple of children were playing outside. And then Cody saw the defector. It was Cut, a clone that defected at the beginning of the Clone Wars. And Cody remembered his mission. He shook his head, convincing himself there had to be a reason for this. The Empire wouldn't just send him out here to kill a clone for not a good reason. So he readied his sniper rifle, aiming at Cut. His hands were shaking. He muttered that good soldiers have to follow orders, and he reached for the trigger. But a moment later, Cody was tackled to the ground. Cody rolled around and then landed on his knees, pointing a pistol at his enemy. The man that tackled him was a clone. It was Rex, and Rex pointed his pistols at Cody. Both of them immediately recognized each other. Their blasters shook in their hands, and then they both dropped them as Cody ran at Rex, hugging him, saying that he feels completely lost. And Rex told him that he is safe here with him. Rex and Cody would end up eating a meal with Cut and his family, as Rex told Cody all about the inhibitor chips. This all made so much sense, and Cody realized how many emotions he was hiding inside of him. He felt immense guilt for killing Obi-Wan, but he was so relieved to know that it wasn't his fault. And Cody told Rex now that the chips seemed to have worn off. This was truly interesting, as the only thing really holding Rex back from starting a true clone uprising was the chips. But if the clones were seeing that they were serving a tyrannical empire, perhaps he could change things. Cody would go on to tell Rex everything that they know, and they would decide on a target together, Tantiss. Without the chips, Cody knew that the clones on Tantiss, specifically Wolf and Scorch, would join them. Tantiss is a cloning experiment base, and destroying it would be a huge hit on the Empire, and the Emperor himself. So Cody and Rex would discreetly fly to the space station above Coruscant that departs shuttles to Tantiss. The two of them would knock out a couple clones, taking their basic armor, then board a shuttle as it took off for the secret base. Not many knew what Tantiss truly was, but as an Imperial commander, Cody knew a lot of secrets. The trip through hyperspace was quiet, and Rex and Cody were able to pass as regular soldiers as the shuttle eventually exited hyperspace, flying into the hangar. The base was a rather eerie setting. No one was really talking. It was all just business all the time. In overtime, Rex and Cody would make their way down to the secure cell block. They wanted to free the prisoners. But they would find something shocking here. Wolf and Scorch were sneaking into the cell block, and Rex heard Wolf say that they have to free the clone prisoners. They were on the same mission as them. Rex and Cody showed themselves and were nearly shot down by Scorch before removing their helmets. Wolf recognized them, telling Scorch to stand down, and now these two clones explained that they were having the same feelings of betrayal towards the Empire. They could not willingly keep serving this tyrannical government that is experimenting on their brothers. Wolf said that he's been hearing whispers for weeks, almost as if there's been some awakening among the clones, and they just need a final push to go against the Empire. Rex said that's why they're here, and the group got to work. Rex and Cody went to the communications room, while Wolf and Scorch went to the top secret facility. Rex and Cody took out the officers in here, then hacked into the comms, and Rex said it's time for the clones to show that they aren't just numbers to be expendable for an empire that they never fought for. They are soldiers of the Republic, and it is time to fight back, to bring back the Republic. Rex's speech resounded through the facility, and clones began to stand up with each other as Wolf and Scorch reached the top secret facility to release all hell upon Tantiss, the Zillo Beast. They worked with more rebelling clones to release the beast, then took off running through the base as the beast rose up, ripping it apart from the inside. And within minutes, every transport in the hangar was filled with clone troopers that finally had a purpose for the first time since the Republic fell. Each one of them was just following orders this whole time, but thanks to Rex and Cody, they found their freedom of choice, and they were going to bring the fight directly upon the Emperor. Around 30 transports were launched from Tantiss, carrying clones with one unified mission, and as they left, the base went up in explosions as the Zillo Beast ripped it to nothing, leaving Dr. Hemlock to die in the fires. As the 30 transports got to space, Rex and Cody called to the other 29 of them, and he told them not to go to Coruscant, but instead to spread into the galaxy, find more of their brothers, get them to join their cause, and they will all unite soon enough. They have to hit the Empire at critical stations across the galaxy before moving on the Emperor. It is the only way to bring down the Empire. They must rip it apart piece by piece, climbing up the food chain all the way to the Emperor. Wolf asked Rex where he and Cody were taking their transport, and Rex said only they would be going to Coruscant. They have to try and speak to the Senate about what the Emperor truly did to them, and to the Jedi with the chips. And so, the clones launched across the galaxy, trying to unite all of their brothers. On Coruscant, as Darth Sidious was in his office, about to go to lead a Senate meeting, an emergency button began beeping rapidly on his desk. Sidious checked what was going on, and a satellite cam showed him Tantiss. The base was gone, and instead the beast that once ravaged Coruscant was standing above the torn-down base like it was king of the planet. Sidious was enraged, wondering how the beast managed to escape, but he figured that at least the beast should have taken down all the clones within the base. And he put on the calm demeanor of Palpatine, then moved for the Senate. He would deal with this later. His experiments were lost, but he could restart. But for extra security, Palpatine made sure someone was waiting in the Senate, just in case. Above Coruscant, the shuttle from Tantiss emerged from hyperspace and began descending down to the planet's surface. An Imperial officer called to the transport, saying that they do not have authorization to enter the planet, and they will be shot down if they disobey. Clone fighters poured out of the space station, heading for Rex and Cody's transport, and Rex got on the comms, telling the clones about what was going on, what they found on Tantiss, how it is now up to them to choose between their brothers or the Empire. Rex and Cody watched as the clone fighters flew at them, then at the last second, all of them turned around, firing at the Imperial space station, blowing it up with only Imperial officers inside, as all of the clones were flying now. And one of the pilots was Oddball, as he told Rex that they now have an escort down to the surface. The transport flew down safely, landing in a hangar near the Senate building. Rex and Cody now led 30 clones as they marched to the Senate, preparing to tell everyone the truth about Palpatine and his empire. But as the 30 clones marched into the Senate hall, the lights suddenly turned red, and all of the doors around them were shut with emergency blast doors. The Emperor prepared for them, but Rex said they could take on whoever was here to fight. And inside of the Senate, all of the senators began to panic, but Palpatine assured them everything was being taken care of. then smiled under his hood. Back in the Senate Hall, the clones looked around for anyone, as suddenly, echoed, mechanical breathing could be heard from somewhere in the room. All of the clones looked around, trying to find the source of the breathing, when suddenly, a clone named Boyle had a red lightsaber ignited through his back, and he fell dead as a man in dark armor now stood, ready for battle. Cody looked to Rex, and both of them said that this is no Jedi, and Rex ordered the men to fire. Darth Vader held up his saber, saying they should have never betrayed the Empire, and the sound of blaster fire filled the air as Vader faced off against the clones. As the clones unleashed a barrage of blaster shots, Vader moved with strength, his saber deflecting the incoming fire without any effort, each deflection taking out another clone. With each swing of his blade, Vader cut through the troopers with brutal rage. Bodies fell with each step, their armor no match for his power. He moved like a true force of nature, his movements mechanical but deadly, as blaster bolts sizzled through the air. But Vader anticipated every shot, evading, deflecting them with a flick of his wrist. Amidst the carnage, Rex and Cody fought bravely at the forefront of it all, but Vader hit them with a hard force push, slamming them into the wall. Both were extremely dazed as they looked up to see Vader cutting down the final clones, and Cody said they have to go, then placed a charge on the door. It exploded, and the two clones stumbled away as Vader moved after them, but they used the smoke to get away, diving into a speeder, flying down into the Coruscant underworld to escape. Rex and Cody were basically in shock, but they managed to fly the speeder to an abandoned warehouse, sneaking inside, falling to the ground. Who was that, they wondered. During the war, they saw Dooku, Ventress, Grievous, but this person was filled with more hatred, more power than all of them. It was no Jedi, it was the Sith, and it was evil. Cody asked what they do now, and Rex said there's not much they can do. They were alone on Coruscant, deep in the underworld. Their only hope was the hope that their message was spreading throughout the galaxy, and that maybe, possibly, an overwhelming number of clones would be joining them, coming to Coruscant to take down the Empire. And they did not know, but that wish was coming true. On various planets across the galaxy, as Wolf, Scorch, and more clones by the hour began spreading the message of the clone uprising, nearly every single clone chose their brothers over the Empire. On Leon, Commander Gree was leading a battalion that was monitoring construction of Imperial shipyards when they got word of this uprising. Gree fought for his brothers, and the clones here overtook the construction of the shipyards, blowing them up, creating a massive hit to TIE fighter production. On Naboo, as an Imperial Academy and training facility for stormtroopers was being built, Clone Commander Bly was stationed here, and he led his men into going into this Imperial facility and destroying it before the construction could finish. Another massive hit. On Ryloth, Captain Hauser led his men into a Dunium refinery, blowing it up from the inside, as everyone rallied behind the clone uprising, getting into ships to join the huge group making its way across the galaxy, getting its revenge on the Empire. The same happened on Kashyyyk, freeing the Wookiees, and from planet to planet, countless clones heard what was happening. They joined their brothers, taking down key parts of the tyrannical Empire. This was the day of reckoning for the Empire, as Palpatine was in his office, trying to do any sort of damage control, as countless reports were sent in of destroyed facilities. Palpatine was sending civilian recruits, ISB agents, Imperial officers, basically any non-clone to stop these attacks, but all of them were failing to put up any resistance to the clone uprising. And on Coruscant itself, inside of the Senate Hall, the Coruscant Guard clones were guarding the hall, as cleaning droids were removing the clone bodies that were slaughtered by Vader. The more that the Guard realized what happened, the more they doubted what side to be on. Fox was telling everyone to stay loyal, but 3 clones in particular, Jek, Thyre, and Ryze, told Fox that he was wrong, and they will not stand for this Empire any longer. These 3 clones remembered Yoda, and without the chips influencing them, they now wanted revenge for the Jedi. Fox deep down knew this was the right choice. His brothers were slaughtered, and he was here defending the killer of his brothers. So Fox gave it all up, and the guard troopers began searching for Rex and Cody. Rex and Cody sat in the warehouse all day long, feeling defeated, when eventually 5 Coruscant Guard members entered, saying they were not here to fight them. Instead, Fox told the 2 clones the good news. He knew that there was an uprising all over the galaxy. Palpatine is scrambling to put an end to it. This gave Rex and Cody so much relief. Their message was working, better than they expected. But then Rex asked about the Senate. Who was that inside of the Senate Hall? Fox and Thyre looked to each other, then asked Rex to sit down. and Thyre would go on to tell Rex everything he knew. After Order 66, Anakin Skywalker was the man who led the 501st into the Jedi Temple, slaughtering the Jedi, whether they were young, old, warrior, peacekeeper. It didn't matter. Anakin killed them all. Rex truly couldn't believe it, but Thyre continued, saying that Anakin then went to Mustafar and then killed all of the Separatist leaders before Obi-Wan Kenobi showed up. This made Cody light up suddenly, asking if Obi-Wan was still alive. On Utapau, they never found his body, and Fox said that Imperial records state that he did survive. Cody felt a huge weight lift off of his shoulders. His friend survived. But as for Rex, he learned the fate of Skywalker. Thyre said he was on Mustafar when they found his body, charred, mangled, burning by the lava. He should have been dead. Anyone would have died from the injuries. But he somehow clinged to life. Thyre described bringing him back to Coruscant, and after hours of surgery and screaming, the Dark Lord emerged, replacing what was once Anakin Skywalker. Rex felt numb. Anakin was the greatest friend, greatest Jedi he ever knew. What could have possibly made him do this? And so Rex asked about Padme, and it was reported that she died, so Rex could only wonder if that is what pushed Anakin over this dark cliff. And Rex soon decided that he would avenge Anakin by killing this Darth Vader that he has become. Around an hour later, a senator would actually emerge into the warehouse, saying she's been looking into the clones killing the Jedi, and she saw what happened in the Senate. She introduced herself as Senator Chuchi, and she told the clones she wants to help. She knows there is more to what is being revealed by the Emperor. The group of clones would tell Chuchi everything, and then Rex and Cody would record a message for Chuchi to play to the entire Senate, detailing everything the Emperor did to take over, and Chuchi would leave with the message. As Senator Chuchi walked into the Senate, Rex, Cody, and the Coruscant Guard emerged from the warehouse, as in space, hundreds of clone transports suddenly emerged from hyperspace, flying down to the surface, lining up behind Rex and Cody as they marched toward the Imperial Palace. The clones' message spread to all of their brothers, and they were here now to take down the Emperor. The air was filled with tension, as Rex and Cody stood at the forefront of a massive army of clones, gathered outside the imposing walls of the Imperial Palace. Among them now stood commanders such as Gree, Bakara, Wolf, Hauser, and Bly, each one ready to lay down their lives in the name of their brothers and for the Republic. With a silent nod, Rex and Cody signaled the start of their assault. From the ground, hundreds of clone troopers surged forward, their blasters blazing as they stormed the palace doors. At the same time, clones flew speeders through the air, their engines roaring as they landed on the side of the palace, infiltrating it from windows to catch the Imperials off guard. As the clones breached the outer defenses, small squads led by Gree, Bakara, Wolf, Hauser, and Bly poured down different halls, taking out Imperial security officers who could barely put up a fight. Blaster bolts flew through the air as the two forces clashed in a ferocious battle, echoing through the corridors. The clone troopers fought with loyalty to the Republic, not to the Empire, their years of training and brotherhood driving them forward as Rex and Cody led them into the hall, where Vader and Sidious stood together, red sabers ignited. Sidious and Vader were hoping that their Imperial agents would be able to put up more of a fight against the clones, but they were wrong, and now this would be the final stand. And as the fight for hope was going on in the Imperial Palace, Senator Chuchi played the message to the Senate and to the entire galactic holonet, as these clone troopers described the treachery of Palpatine. Rex talked about how in the final days of the war, as the Republic was on the verge of victory thanks to the Jedi and the clones on the front lines, everything changed. All of the clones received an order, Order 66, and this was the true purpose of the clones all along. They were bred to become droids without any free will as soon as the order came through. Cody described how it felt when the order came through, and it was like a switch turned off in his brain. He was nothing more than a puppet for the Empire. They described how the Jedi, children, elders, all of them died because Palpatine was evil. This was his plan all along. He is the traitor to the galaxy, and today he will fall as the clones fight for their brothers, for the Jedi, and for the Republic. And finally, the galaxy had the truth of who Palpatine really was. In the hallway of the Imperial Palace, things moved in slow motion as Rex and Cody led the charge of hundreds of clones running at the two Sith Lords. From outside of the palace, speeders and Republic ships flew down, pouring through the windows, fighting the Sith from every angle. Sidious and Vader were cutting down every clone coming at them, but the numbers were getting overwhelming. Sidious released a lightning storm, killing waves of clones, but they did not stop. Rex got to Vader now, hitting him in the shoulder, and Vader turned to grab Rex by the throat, holding him, knowing that if he kills Rex, Anakin will continue to die. But as Vader tried to kill Rex, he just couldn't finish it, and Rex lifted his left hand into the air. He was holding a thermal detonator. He said, "It's been an honor, sir." And the detonator exploded, sending both of them flying down a flight of stairs. Outside of the palace, the Bad Batch flew the Marauder, with Crosshair, who just rejoined them, standing on the ramp. He took aim, fired the perfect shot, piercing through the back of Sidious. And in this moment, as Sidious stumbled forward, he was filled with blasts as the clones defeated him once and for all. They won. Down the stairs, as the clones were celebrating their victory, Rex slowly woke up. His armor was cracked and broken. He was on the verge of death. Looking at him on the ground, though, was Vader, mask broken, burned face exposed. And Rex saw Anakin. He smiled, lifting his blaster, saying that this is for the Jedi Anakin Skywalker, the man that would have once fought with them in this battle. This is for him. And Rex fired his pistol, killing Vader as he accepted it, and they both died here. The Republic would rise from the ashes of the Empire, with Bail Organa and Ryo Chuchi leading the charge. It would be a long process, but with the help of the clones, the Republic was able to bring back true freedom into the galaxy, a galaxy that would be able to prosper now that Palpatine was gone, done influencing all of it. Days later, Obi-Wan Kenobi was leaving his job on Tatooine for the night when he went over to a local bar. News was just now reaching them of the fall of the Empire. Kenobi couldn't believe it. It was called a clone uprising, and Kenobi saw Rex's message to the galaxy. It made him very happy, as now Luke could grow up in a safe galaxy. And as Kenobi turned to go home alone, a shaky voice called to him. Obi-Wan recognized it, and he turned to see Cody. Obi-Wan could see in his eyes that he was afraid, and Obi-Wan smiled softly, then walked up to his old friend, giving him a hug as he brought Cody to his cave to discuss everything that happened. And folks, that is our story for today of what if Order 66 faded away after Revenge of the Sith. Now, you could poke holes here and there saying this clone wouldn't follow it, Fox, Bakara, they wouldn't follow it, but at the end of the day, the message of the Clone Wars, the message from the clones that we see constantly is that loyalty, they value loyalty above everything, so learning what Palpatine did, I think, would dramatically change who they want to serve in the war, and they would unite with their brothers, basically every single one of them. So, I understand why there might be some issues with that, but that's just kind of how I think it would go. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought of this. I really wanted to focus on Rex and Cody, especially Cody. I just, really love Cody. Hope we see him in the Bad Batch finale or a new animated series coming up, but yeah, subscribe to be eligible for the upcoming giveaway, and leave a like just because it's awesome. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.